Correspondents, scribbling furiously, wrote it all down, oblivious to the fact that they were helping create one of the most enduring legends of the American frontier. For although Pearl Hart was the West's most notorious woman bandit, her true story has long been lost in the mists of the past. Her personal history is thoroughly obscured by legends, many of them created by Pearl herself. For the next century, newspaper reporters, magazine writers, and historians repeated and even invented countless wild tales about her. She was the West's first woman stage robber. She was the West's last stage robber. She was the daughter of a wealthy Canadian family. She was a virtuous schoolgirl in Phoenix. She performed with Buffalo Bill Cody's Wild West show. Even her identity has been the subject of controversy. Her real name was Mrs. Frank Hart, Pearl Bandman, Caroline Hartwell, Pearl Taylor, Mrs. E.P. Keel, Mrs. Earl Lighthawk, and Pearl Bywater. She was born in Canada, Ohio, and Kansas. Her husband was Bret Hart, Frederick Hart, Frank Hart, William Hart, James Taylor, Dick Baldwin, Harry Boardman, Joe Boot, and Calvin Bywater. But most of that is not true. The tales she spun in the Tucson jail have confounded authors, researchers, and historians for the last 120 years. Although Pearl Hart has been featured in hundreds of magazine articles and books, not one of them comes close to an accurate depiction of her life. But now, modern digital newspaper archives and genealogical databanks have provided the key to unraveling the mysteries of Pearl Hart's career. Her authentic story is alternately romantic, exciting, and disturbing. For the truth is far more fascinating and instructive than the myths spread by popular writers, casual researchers, and deliberate fictioneers. Pearl Hart was a woman far ahead of her time. She was self-reliant, adventurous, unconstrained by convention, and sexually liberated. Those attributes were extremely rare for a woman in the 19th century. Then, few women worked outside the home. They dressed modestly, raised children, cooked, cleaned, and managed the household. In rural America, they helped tend a family farm and often labored next to their fathers or husbands in the fields. In urban areas, there were more opportunities for employment for women, as domestic workers in middle and upper-class homes, as seamstresses in dress shops, and as mill girls in factories and textile mills. And despite such work obligations, women were still expected to marry, bear children, and be the bedrock for moral, religious, and familial stability. In the American West, most pioneer women and girls came to the frontier with their fathers, brothers, and husbands. Yet in frontier boom towns, the first female arrivals were often prostitutes. As the lyrics of a popular song of the 1849 California Gold Rush proclaimed, "The miners came in 49, the whores in 51, and when they got together, they produced the native son." In that era, there were no welfare subsidies, no unemployment benefits, and no job security. For poor, uneducated, and unskilled women, prostitution often provided the only means of survival. Because of the huge gender imbalance on the frontier, prostitutes in the West were not held in the same disrepute as those in the East. Yet the life of a so-called fallen woman was brutal and debilitating. Many died of alcoholism, drug abuse, and violence, but many more left the profession, married, and led stable and respectable lives thereafter. Among the most notable examples are Josephine Marcus Earp and Allie Sullivan Earp, the wives, respectively, of Wyatt Earp and his brother Virgil. Both lived to old age, dying in the 1940s after leaving memoirs of their famous husbands. Modern research has revealed that both Josephine and Allie had been frontier prostitutes in the 1870s, and their husbands were fully aware of their pasts. Myths about women in the Old West abound, and Hollywood has been the leader in creating them. Beginning in the 1920s and 30s, a staple in Western films has been the cowgirl. A woman who rode and dressed like a man, wore blue jeans, boots, and a cowboy hat, and often sported a six-shooter, hung low from a cartridge belt. That was a screenwriter's fantasy, for cowgirls did not exist in the Old West. The term first appeared in the 1880s and